All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Unlocked Podcast. I am Tony Hokinson, and I am here with two wonderful gentlemen. And we're... Okay, I don't know what I'm saying.
Now that was good use of the soundboard.
That's why we bought it.
Yes.
Well, we didn't buy it.
Good job.
Very
Good
good.
job. Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't buy anything. Chad bought it.
Yes.
And that was worth it. Tony, this is episode 55 of the Unlocked Podcast.
Hey, you got it right.
That is, in fact, the worst intro we've had yet.
I don't know. You've had some pretty bad ones.
That was 4 seconds, and
It just fell apart. Yeah.
Flubbed it after 4.
All right. Let's try it again.
Do you want? No. Okay. Everyone pretend.
We'll definitely edit all this out.
Everyone
No,
pretend
you won't.
you didn't
No, you
hear
won't.
that.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Because Tony's going to be
2,
Okay.
1, go. Back, Tony. Yes, and we're back. Tony, wake up. Wake up.
Tony, you're the host here today.
Yes.
Oh,
Episode
really?
55.
Am I? All right.
Unlock Podcast. Okay, go ahead.
Oh,
Good.
And we got to clap.
And we're clapping.
Oh, we need to applause break in.
This- All right.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Unlocked Podcast. Hopefully, this is not your first time listening to us, but we are 3 business owners from around the globe and happen to be in the same area, which is mostly fun. And we are talking about business strategies and tactics and tips to improve your business.
And tricks on top of that.
Yes.
I love a good tip and trick.
Yep.
Only 2 of them, though.
We are
Sure.
on
Two
site
things.
in Austin, Texas for the Cloud Summit still and recording episode 55. And today we're going to talk about process simplification.
And based off of that introduction, you would have never guessed that we've recorded 55 of these episodes.
It's free content. So it's not demand driven, you would say?
Yeah, I mean, we are still in the freemium phase.
Yep.
It is just soon we will activate the subscription option for those that want to.
Our viewership
okay.
may plummet.
You think?
Or it could skyrocket. Some people may think.
Our watchership.
How plummet? That would have to imply there's more than 5 viewers.
I think that we've got more than 5 viewers.
This is incredible. I will say this.
Somebody walked up to me earlier, and I was having a conversation with them,
And they didn't like your beard?
No, and they were holding a pin, so I thought they needed an autograph.
Oh,
You would think that,
Yeah,
wouldn't
do you
you?
sign
Yes, that
things?
fits right on with your MO there.
that's perfect. Yeah, I've had a few people approach me and they're like, "Hey, you're Lars." I was like, "Yeah." You're like, "And you're with those other guys, right?" I was like, yeah, that sounds right. Over 1 year of episodes,
Yes.
which is, I know we've talked
We
about that,
d-
Tony. Just calm down. You're sparky today.
He is.
Everyone, just be prepared. Tony is a little sparky. He's a little flustered. He's going to come out hot here.
This is not good that we are recording every time before we eat.
Oh yeah.
Yes. We record before lunch. We're late
almost-
for lunch. Almost missed the food.
Who was responsible for the scheduling? I don't remember.
To clarify, I set the scheduling. You changed the scheduling.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we don't know what we're going to eat tonight. Well, we're not going to worry about that because we do have a bag of Doritos here that we will crunch into the microphone as time goes on.
Yes. So today I want to talk about process simplification.
Okay.
We did record an episode on processes, and I know that everyone thinks that processes are very exciting. But I want to talk today about simplification of processes. So
I don't know if I like the pronunciation of processes.
Not just that.
would you prefer that I call them processes like Canadians do?
I just thought they were processes.
I'm also just going to have a quick nap for this episode. You guys wake me up when we're done talking about processes. Are there no Excel spreadsheet?
That's okay. I'm pretty sure the
formulas
last
can
time we
talk
talked about processes, you were so hungover you didn't say a word. So
That is-
Oh, dear. Edit that out. That was a Sunday morning, and I was tired from church.
and you claimed you were hungover from eating too much steak.
No, I was tired from all my time spent in church. That's what I was doing.
Yes.
Oh,
You are a
God.
regular churchgoer if I've ever seen one.
oh man. And yeah,
I got 2 hits on that one.
I do
Sorry.
have a new soundboard. If you
Oh.
missed last episode, it is a welcomed addition. But the processes that you're talking about tone.
Yeah. So walk us through what are you trying to get to?
So as businesses grow, I think the natural thing that happens is that it tends to get a little overcomplicated, right? You add people.
Yes.
You need to add standardization.
Complexity.
And then you try to make things standard, and then into doing so, you get other opinions, and this person wants this person in there, this person wants this thing in there,
and
all of a sudden you have just an overcomplicated process to do something.
Correct.
And one of our goals as a business as we grow is to keep that small family business feel. And a lot of times when you have something that's over-processified, it takes away from that.
We've got some great pronunciations here.
Oh boy.
But anyways, when we were recording that last episode, Chad, you made some comments about this topic a little bit and how you've gone in and done some simplification and looking at, whiteboarding around what processes look like and what you've done to simplify them. So felt to be a good topic to talk about as we're growing and scaling businesses. How do we make sure that we're keeping things simple? Yeah. Making sure that we're doing things that are right for the customer, and overall just not overcomplicating things.
Right.
So
it's in application to that. An hour ago, we were up at the Solutions Lab. Is that what it was called?
Correct. Yeah.
And I was talking to two gentlemen from Toronto. Toronto is how they pronounced it. Correct. Ontario. Anyways, they were talking about how they are a growing business, like 12 people.
Okay.
And one of their challenges is they are the problem solvers. So these were the two owners. One was really focused on the sales side, one's focused on the operation side, and they're problem solvers.
Good.
And so I think this is very practical, Tony, in what you're talking about. How do you start to clarify and document a process that traditionally is going to be inherent to the owner or whoever that has created that process, but it's not one that's shareable or portable. It's all kind of established in someone's head.
Yeah, and I'm actually more interested in talking about kind of after you get that process documented and then you get input on the process and then it becomes overcomplicated because one team wants this in there, one team wants that in there, one team wants this in there, and all of a sudden you have...
Can you give us an example?
I can hop in there.
Okay.
Perfect.
So we do 1,200 service calls, but on number 1,201, we showed up and there was a concrete filled frame. And therefore, we have to change all 1,200 situations. We have to ask specifics, or we need pictures, or we're not going to do anything unless... you're talking about edge case, like creating a process around an edge case? An edge case, if that's the fancy... You must have...
No.
No?
Not talking about that.
Okay.
So, scenario.
This is good so far. Yeah. Go on, Tom.
I like the fact we're clarifying what we're talking about.
Yes, that's usually good because sometimes we get 45 minutes in and then can't.
I think we talked about on our last episode of how we oftentimes have challenges communicating the outcome that we're looking for.
Yes. And when you started off by processification,
that
really threw me for a curveball here. But
no, what I was saying was when you grow your business, you end up having to processify a lot of things.
That's
and then
not a word, man. Create a process.
Okay.
All right.
Whatever. In doing so, they tend to get overcomplicated. What I am talking about is once you've created a lot of processes, how do you take a step back and look at them and say, how do we actually simplify this? Because, example, our quote process. Service process, extremely easy. The other day we outlined what our quote process is.
Yeah.
And I had...
It's awful.
Yeah, our operations person put everything in a box and show what are all the steps, and I looked at it and it was like, oh my. Yeah. How do we get this done efficiently? You have to send the customer a new customer form, and then you have to send them a deposit.
Has to be lucky for you to give them
right. And there
service.
are if every if then is met, you have to go through 20 different steps.
Yeah.
And they're all there for logical reasons, or they were at the time.
So
but
because
at the
of
time,
an edge case,
an edge case. Is that what you call it? When it's a one-off. Okay. That's exactly an edge case. Chad read a book.
My question is, how do you go through the process of taking a step back and looking at your business systems?
How do we examine what we have?
How do you examine what you have? Okay. And how do you go through actually simplifying those and determining, is that an edge case?
Yeah.
Is that something that's logical? Because again, like you said, at the time, all those things were put in place for logical reasons.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's like, oh, I have this issue, so I'm going to put in this roadblock to make sure this doesn't happen.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fair to say that most small businesses, when they have documented processes, the reason for it was because of a major failure at some point. And so we needed to document the process so we can protect against that. And within that, there are a lot of protections that have been placed because of certain edge cases that have fallen through.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, how do you balance standardization with simplification?
Right.
Okay.
Like, how do you not, as you grow, you want to deliver a similar product to your customer.
Yep.
You grow to 20, 30, 40, 50 and beyond employees. You want to deliver a standard while also keeping it simple.
And so your question is, how do you take the documentation, or how do you get, once you've understood the process, how do you review it to
simplify it?
Okay.
What are we doing right now?
Yeah. Or what have you guys
simplify.
done? Because this is something we're struggling with right now. We've created a lot of processes. We've done a really good job of documenting them. And we've started to realize that in doing so, we've overcomplicated some things.
And that's typical for sales growth.
Yeah.
When you grow, because day one, you write a straight line. Your process just straight line. You got to go from here, you get to there.
Yep.
That's pretty easy like that. Oh, but then the next day, they want a red one.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we got to wiggle a line up there, because if it's red, it's a little bit different. Oh, and then the next day it's blue, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And as you grow, your goal is, I want to be able to document this, because in your mind, you're like, I got to scale this. So I got to write it down.
Yes.
And I don't want to have the messy middle.
Yeah.
So I think.
So how do we get there? But now that we've gotten here, we realize that, okay, we have to ask 4,000 questions
Yes.
to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So what are we doing now?
Okay, cool. So we have gone through this process a few times. The largest one that I could probably give you some examples from, so I'll try to outline it and we can kind of dialogue back and forth. We, on our quote conversion to project was the process. So we had simplified the actual quote process multiple times, and we continue to trim that up probably every quarter. But it was really from the time a quote was approved from a customer to the completion of the install. What are we going to do to, how do we get all of the information accurately to all the key players? Because you have, anywhere between 3 and probably 10 people that are going to be involved in that.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So how we started, because and the reason that this came about was because we had a large amount of frustration and a large amount of failures through that conversion process. So we brought all of the key players into the room together, and that was probably 8 people. We had a somewhat of a system documented, but as a piece of paper, it was not easy to follow.
Right.
So we converted that over to sticky notes. Every single action. So this is a typical, I can't remember what the, probably somebody can Google it.
IDEO.
Yeah, there's an actual method to this, right? But you document
Kanban?
Kanban, something along that line.
The IDEO method, if you go to IDEO.com, IDEO, that's exactly what this is.
And so you literally just go in and write down, place order, go walk over and talk to Sam, like every obnoxious little task. And we documented it all out on those sticky notes. And we brought everybody in our conference room, and we literally put and you guys have been in that room before, we just covered the wall with all these sticky notes. And then we sat back and looked at it and said, this is terrible. So
how can we make mistakes?
Yeah, right. However would we have missed that?
I mean, step 47 was pretty straightforward.
And all of this should have been done by memory, right? So we, once we did all that from a documentation standpoint, somebody in our team, which I don't remember who, I think it was Kevin, went into a program called diagram.io, which is a free website. And it's a flowchart designer.
Yeah.
So he took
it's like Visio, but free one. Yeah.
And he designed all of it in a flowchart with all the different elements so you could follow it.
Right.
From that, once we confirmed all that with everybody, then we came back through and said, okay, what's out of order and what are causing hiccups, hurdles, or whatever. And then outside of that, what can we automate? So, that simple automate, delete, delegate type of thing.
Yep.
And then we found some of these elements of the process were being done by the wrong person.
Right.
So say Sam, for instance, who's our purchasing manager, was having to contact a manufacturer to get a price quote.
Right.
Well, that should have been done by the sales agent during this startup. So it was basically at the onset, an account manager would figure out the scope. Then they would go to Sam. Sam would get a price. Then it would kick back to the account manager. Then go to the customer. There were a lot of back and forth. So we went through and said, which of these items should Sam not touch?
Right.
Which are the ones that he should touch? And
So there was, oh God, I'm about to say this. 2 things there. One, you said DE or DEA or delegate, automate,
delete.
Automate. Oh, no, it's delegate, automate, eliminate.
Oh,
Okay.
Same thing.
Eliminate or delete. But sure, go ahead.
Sure, but then it doesn't matter. You're making a reference there because that's something I've read too. Do you remember where that came from? Just in case anyone hasn't heard that before.
A book.
You don't. It was a book.
Yeah.
Right. So just go to Amazon and type in book. That should work. But just Google it and you'll find delegate, automate, eliminate. Those are the 3 things to do in every process. The other thing I was wondering, how do you think that happened? How do you think it got to the point it was?
That it got so complicated?
Yeah.
I believe that because it was a effect of scale. So what you were talking about earlier was, we have a pretty simple from point A to point B, and then all of a sudden, it needs to be blue. Well, that changes, and then it's red. And I think over time, in our business, and it probably has happened in others, is if it's blue, it goes to Sam. If it's red, it goes to John.
Right.
John handles all red things. Well, then those red things become a lever, an access control panel, and a camera.
Right.
Well, but John now is stretched because John's expertise is in the lock sets. And so it just got very stretched out from that point where we originally were trying to pocket things into different categories. And then once they bled over, it still went back to the same individual.
Right.
And that's why it got complicated.
Yeah. And that's, I've had this conversation with Matt, who chiefly runs our operations. And I've said, and he hates it, so hopefully he's not listening, but I've said we have become an operations-driven company, not a sales-driven company. And by that, I mean we are more focused on making it convenient so that we do things and don't screw it up.
Yeah.
Rather than focused on the customer and making it easier for them. So that's where, I mean, okay, well, every single request that we have, I need you to send me a picture. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I'll send you my email. You can send me the information. And if you're lucky, I'll give you a price on what it's going to cost for me to come and do it.
Yeah, and I would agree with what you're saying there. I think that's probably level 2 or 3 of that process improvement because, or maybe, and let me say it this way, it may be a lens that you need to assess the process through. How difficult is this for the employee? How difficult is this for the customer to be able to? So, for instance, on the, I think we've talked about this before on the quote approval process.
Yeah.
Previously, it was you would send an email to a customer with a PDF, and you needed them to sign it. So they either had to print it off, put a wet signature on it, then scan it and email it back, or try to figure out a digital signature. All that. All we were doing at that point was making it difficult for the customer to approve it. So,
and what you really want to know is, we good?
We good? And who? Do we have some type of a track? Because what you're trying to do is, does that signature hold that client to the approval?
Yeah.
In your entire career, have you ever pushed back and say you've signed it?
And probably once or twice. And it wasn't, obviously it wasn't worth the effort that put into
the fuss.
But on the other side of that is how many opportunities either didn't get approved or it got delayed because it was too complicated to approve.
Because I need you to find a printer, print this off, then find a scanner. And
because the customer is busy and they say, hey, this is approved, move forward. And we say, it's got to have a signature. And he's like, 2 weeks later, I finally sat down to figure this out. Yeah. So that was one thing that we did look at it from a lens and say, how do we make that process easier for the customer to just say, yes, move forward. And I think the same thing is true, like on an employee. How easy is it for them to say, yes, this is correct, move forward, order this, whatever.
Yeah, I think processes get overcomplicated for 2 reasons. One, lack of trust. I think a lot of times people think that this person isn't going to do their job properly. So I want to put in means to hold them accountable.
Dummy proof it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I don't trust that Lars is going to do this correctly, so I'm going to make sure that he has to do certain steps and check certain boxes so that I know he does it correctly.
That's pretty wise, yeah.
Yes.
That's fair.
But that just means you have the wrong person in the wrong seat, or the person isn't trained. But so it's a crutch for people for lack of training. And I think that a lot of times is, I don't think this person's going to do this right. I don't trust they're going to do this right. They're not going to do this the way I do this. So I'm going to put a bunch of handcuffs in place to make sure that they do it exactly how I would.
Yeah. If you check this, then you can go to the next step.
Secondly, and I think this happens a lot in organizations that are trying to continuously improve, you notice an issue and an issue comes up and you're like, I don't want this to happen again. So what process do we need to put in place so this doesn't happen again? When in reality, that thing happens 1 out of every 100 times. And it's fun to try to fix that issue. Yeah. But it's really like, how often is this happening? Is this the what if, or is this the norm?
Yeah. It's emotionally devastating because we made this mistake, and therefore we're going to put all these processes in place and make sure that it never happens again.
So I know we've used this multiple times before, but that old Henry Ford quote, if you ask people what they want, they'll say a faster horse. And so this is a prime example of that.
Yes.
You ask somebody, what do we need to do to fix this process? And it is put in a barrier.
Correct.
It's not actually go back and figure out what the reason, why it actually got to that point. It's just put in a barrier. So we have 2 examples of that in our business. We had the double checkbox, which is terrible.
We got a few of those.
It was a checkbox that was intended for somebody to check to verify that they've double checked something.
Let me guess, it got checked every time.
Yeah.
And it didn't make a difference.
It didn't actually improve the process, but it did impede it from moving to the next level.
Yeah,
so
slowed it down.
It could have, it was a preventative to allow a site visit to get scheduled and without customer service verifying information. So
what happens when they got busy?
It would just sit in a queue, right? Which then turned into an emergency, all those things. And then the other one that we have, and we just eliminated it, was a not to exceed box.
Right.
And the reason that got implemented years ago was for a really simple method. If a customer had a requirement on their contract that you could not exceed a certain amount, either per PO or per instance, but then it got abused for any time a person wanted to prevent a work order from getting completed over a certain value. And so it was the only thing it was a preventative measure to not allow it to go to accounting for invoicing.
Operational nuisance.
Correct.
We have that same thing.
Yeah. And it doesn't fix the problem. So then you have to ask yourself, in a process improvement situation, what is the thing that we're actually trying to prevent?
So those are 2 really good examples. They were things that were put in place for seemingly logical reasons at the time. Sure. How did you identify those, and how did you go about, like, what was the process to uncomplicate it?
You've thrown all your stickies on the wall.
Yeah.
Or was that a sticky situation? Or was that you walking in and being like,
those two
this is dumb?
Yeah, those 2 were not sticky pad situations. But so I'm really trying to figure out how to answer that question the most productive way I can. Both of those instances were implemented by the fact of, at a time in our company, and we still have this in some elements, we had a time in our company when anybody could walk in and request something to be changed in our software. And so what that allowed is anybody that was frustrated enough with, an invoice that got kicked back because the value was over a certain amount, or because a job got scheduled before the customer was contacted, to walk in and say, make this button or put this field in.
Sure.
And so it was. Again, I'm trying to think how to say this in the most positive manner. It was almost too open of a forum where it allowed everybody to solve their own problem without it aligning with a consistent business operation methodology. Right. So, and I want to say that a little bit of a different way. I think at scale, when you're scaling a business, there are times when you want to allow everybody to have a high level of autonomy or to solve problems whatever way they want to, and it causes it causes a lack of systematic process.
Yeah. So you didn't really answer my question.
Okay.
I mean, you talked about how that got there.
He gave you all of that, and that didn't answer your question.
Shocking,
My God.
I know, right?
Okay.
So how did you identify the issue and fix the issue? Was it literally just you looking at it and being like,
okay, so referencing back to the previous
or in
episode,
other examples,
yeah,
like what do you
referencing back to the previous episode, both of those things happened when I was head deep in managing the operations of the business and not focused on the long-term vision and strategy. So I did not have visibility of those things that were happening at the time. Once I was able to elevate other people to manage the day-to-day processes of the business, then I got an opportunity to sit back at a 30,000 foot level and go, what is going on here? Why are these queues getting backed up?
Sure.
And then we were able to go in and dig in and figure out what it was. And we identified these are systematic issues that are being caused because I had the visibility to look at it from a high level without being bogged down in the day-to-day.
So this is now something you're proactively doing, is looking for inefficiencies and wasted.
So I have weekly conversations with my operations manager,
Okay.
and I have bi-weekly conversations with my controller. And so there's a lot of questions that I can look at when they bring their reports in. So say, for instance, the not to exceed situation was brought to life because our past dues had increased at a drastic rate. And I said, what's happening there? And then why is there was also a increase in days to invoice? Why is it taking so long to invoice? And we discovered it was because a lot of those invoices were getting hung up in that not to exceed preventative queue.
Right.
So it was the outcome of proactive reporting conversations with those people and staff.
I'd add, I look at from quote to installation. We keep track of how long that takes, because that, generally speaking, will give you an idea of if there's any snafus. We pay attention to how long it takes us to order product.
So you're measuring speed in certain capacities.
That's a good one. The time to order product, because that's going to you go in there and ask questions. Why is it taking so long? They're going to tell you.
Well, yeah, and the flip side is if it's too fast. If we order it too fast, it's because we just ordered it from whatever was easiest, most convenient. That doesn't mean it's the best price, and that doesn't mean it's the fastest.
Yeah,
it just means it was easy.
So looking for anomalies.
Yeah. And so it's, if we order everything within 20 seconds of getting it, well, we got a problem.
On top of that is measuring the percentage of returns.
Yeah.
The amount of products that you order versus the products that you're returning. And if that, we found that under 3% is a comfortable amount. And if it goes above that, then that poses the question of what's happening to cause the returns to increase. Is it, for your point, ordering it too fast? Is it we're not speccing it correctly, whatever? Yeah.
The other thing I really pay attention to is our warranty calls. Not because I care that we're making mistakes, because in a growing, scaling business, you're going to have to hire people with less than ideal experience. And you're going to have to challenge them and put them in situations where they make mistakes.
Right.
And that's fine. I like it, because when I just get a report. So when we dispatch a call, we just have a tag on it, the category, however you want to do it in your system. We just tag it as warranty, and then I get a list of those, and we just look at them, and then read through them and try and understand, why did the warranty happen? Did somebody screw up? Okay, cool, no problem. We can have a conversation with them and try and fix that. The flip side is this a hole in our process? But then we have to go through, and this is a personality type. Like I know the three of us sitting here, Tony's process will be more robust and be less mistake-ridden. Chad and I we're going to be close enough a lot of the time. Because I have this conversation with Matt that something goes wrong, and Matt, again, is the guy in charge of our operations. And if something goes wrong, he's like, okay, where can we fix this so that problem doesn't happen again? Because the emotional impact of that mistake might be huge.
Correct.
I look at it and it's like, okay,
how often is it happening?
And just fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we screwed that one up. Go back and fix it. But we put the process in place so that 1 in 1,000, and it was actually Rob Lodge was the guy's name. He was our operations manager, because I would get these like customer complaints or a warranty call, or those are the things that would get escalated to me. And I'm like, oh my God, like, how did we screw this up? I'd get mad about this. And then Rob would just, kind of nonchalantly be like, oh yeah, we did 1,300 calls last week. And yeah, we screwed that one up. And it just kind of put it in context, like, oh, so do I need to build a process and convolute and add complexity because I want a standardized procedure because we're scaling and everyone has to know how we're doing for 1 in 1,200?
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to measure warranty calls, and then we realized that the quantity is irrelevant because the more tickets you do, the more warranty you're going to have.
The quantity doesn't matter.
The percent of,
but it is an absolute gold mine to understand. And that's the question to ask yourself when you read through these warranty calls. Is this a process hole that we've missed, or did somebody just make a mistake?
Yeah. Is it an event or a trend? I think is another way to look at it. And I would absolutely agree with what you're saying. Is the reporting should point you to a place of asking questions. From that, you have to have, and I think that's part of that, like being a bit balanced in your observation. If you're looking at it from that 30,000 foot overview, and you're not so married to the situation, because Matt is going to be a little bit more married to the situation because it was painful. He experienced it.
Yep.
But from a more neutral standpoint, you can look at it and go, hold on a second. We do that, and I have these conversations quite frequently with people that come in. We need to uproot this entire process. Yeah. Okay. Well, it works 99.5% of the time. What happened for this one particular one? And if it happens again, are we okay with that risk?
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Generally speaking, we're not dealing with cancer treatments here.
Yeah.
You know, that 0.5%, it's like, we'll just throw that one out. So sorry, I'll let you jump in here a minute, Tom, but it just made me think, that's probably a good time for people that are listening to just have a pause. If the person that is largely running the company, the day-to-day operations, if they are more of a sales-focused person, you are probably lacking some process. If the person is more that operations-driven person, the typical integrator role, your process is probably convoluted and too complex for most situations. So that's right now, like we're talking about, how do you actually do it and how do you jump into it? Right now is probably a good time to say, hey, let's look at our process right now and figure out, are we too convoluted or are we too simple?
Yeah. Good point.
You just stumped him.
Give me the applause. Hit the applause button.
Great point, yeah.
I think Tony's just hungry. I think that's what's going on.
Okay, so summary there of I think what we just talked about briefly is, to Tony's question, how do you find the problems?
Yes.
And I think as we've gotten, what?
Just remembered what I was going to say.
Forgot it.
Just click.
Well, jump in, Tone.
So I think one thing we realized or witnessed is we had an employee who switched teams. She was working on our customer support team and she moved to our inventory team. And
boy. I'm just in today's culture that has a totally different meaning.
And now we're back. Okay, Tony, go ahead.
Okay,
jump on it.
So she switched teams. Go on.
So she moved from our.
This episode brought to you by.
Okay, so we had an employee who moved from our customer support team to our inventory team.
Good.
Coming in as an unbiased perspective or new perspective, she was able to notice processes that were
yes, fresh eyes.
Fresh eyes, yes.
Fresh eyes.
She looked at it and she was like,
cross-departmental.
Yes. She was like, why do we do it this way?
Yeah, this is dumb.
Why don't we do this way? Like, again, when you're doing it every single day, you're looking at the process and you're like, oh, this is just the norm. But when you bring someone new in,
this is how we do it.
It can be a new employee. It can be someone moving different departments.
Yes.
You get a new perspective on things.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually probably a takeaway, and is to try to get other perspectives on different.
And that's a really, really good point. I never even dawned on me, but that absolutely is true because. Good job, Tone. We should have an applause counter.
This is the greatest thing ever.
That's one. Yeah, and I'm glad it's in your reach, not ours. But really good point, because I'm a popcorn machine.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of ideas,
Mhm.
lots coming. So it takes me about 10 seconds to look at a situation and say, okay, well, that's dumb. Let's try this and
Right.
do that and that. And that's too much. But bringing in some new blood and even just moving, like doing ride-alongs, if
Yes.
that's something you're not doing right now. I mean, for our lead dispatcher, worked with us for probably 2 years, we threw them in a van with one of our guys. And he was, oh my God, they spend half their day just sitting there waiting for a dispatch.
Ooh.
Right. And I was like, oh, so, and he's like, yeah, like we have to get them the next call way faster because they spend half their time at Tim Hortons. That's a coffee place, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
But it was a huge learning perspective. And then we've even found putting guys on the road, getting them answering the phones just for a day. They're like, oh, this sucks. I'm like, yeah. So next time you're complaining about the people inside, maybe a little bit of empathy and invoicing the whole thing. So that's a huge point. That's probably just
I think the
overlooked.
empathy thing is something to hit on there.
I've never heard of this. What
We're
is
reading
this?
a book on Southwest Airlines, and they talked about how they did that, where the pilot would go work with the baggage crew or the flight attendants,
Right.
and like do different things, and like you have a different appreciation for it, and then also again that new perspective can lead to some simplification. So-
Right. Yeah, it's I remember a story of oh my God, it's an airline from the 80s. It doesn't matter, but they did this contest and they were talking about ways to save money, and the winning, and then the person that came up with the best idea won a bunch of money. But the idea was, it was a pilot that decided serving one olive in the martinis instead of two would save a certain amount of money. And it was just one of those things that was inbred. Well, yeah, it comes with two olives.
Yeah.
Well, but it was just somebody's fresh eyes and we're like, oh, this is like, you just think about it in your retail store. If you have a retail store, it's like, well, do we have to do things? One of the things that came to mind for me, and one of the things we've implemented is, counting key blanks. We buy key blanks for 20 cents, I don't know, somewhere in that range. And we sit there and we pay someone, $20 an hour to count key blanks, where logically it's actually more cost effective to throw them
away
in the garbage and then just put the new bag of 50 in there.
So the lot of statements there. One thing that I would add. One thing that I would add. So what you're potentially seeing when you bring an outsider to a different team or a different perspective, I think is if you can. And I don't want to bring this back to Culture Index, but if you look at any type of assessment tool that you can to try to figure out how to measure an Ingenuity rating. So effectively, what you would want to do if you were to
what's Ingenuity first?
It's like creative problem solving.
Okay.
So if the more ingenuity that somebody has, they're going to have a higher capacity to look at a situation from an outside perspective. Even if they're inside of that team, they can still have the ability to look at it from a creative problem solving standpoint, because they're building it from tools outside of their normal toolbox.
Right.
And a lot of times what you'll see is people solving the same problems in the same way. So let me add on to that. If you have a team of a leadership team that is responsible for reviewing these processes and improving them, and they all have lower ingenuity, then they're probably going to solve most of those problems in the same way, because they are going to always resource back to the tools in their toolbox from previous examples of things that have worked.
Right.
So you want to really find high ingenuity people to be able to infiltrate into that conversation, and they are going to be the ones that go, why do we have to do it this way? And why can't we do it this way? And it'll help you to get a simplified perspective on it, because it's actually more of the creative problem solving, less of the outside perspective.
So reverting back a little bit, we're talking about simplifying processes. And you said an example about how you had the NTE put in, and you had processes that got too complicated. Are you doing anything to put barriers in place to prevent processes from getting overcomplicated?
Yes.
And what are you doing?
So anything that's software related, we instituted a policy maybe 2 years ago that previously Lars would walk in and say, I want that box green, and they would say, okay, green pushed. Now they bring it in and say, I want that box green, and they'll say, okay, awesome, thank you for that feedback. We'll put it in our
the suggestion box.
effectively our suggestion box, and we'll review it. We review it every Wednesday morning at 8:30, or I guess it's 10 o'clock now. But we review it every Wednesday morning, and we will give you an answer after that.
So you do follow back up,
yes,
which is good because you don't want to hinder idea generation.
Right. Yeah. So what we found is in our organization, people would ask something, and you would either get two responses: one, absolutely, I already fixed it. Here you go, or two, no. And that was the end of the answer, was just no. And I hate that answer.
Yep.
So I said we want to receive feedback.
Yeah.
We just need to make sure we follow up the loop on it and give us a bit of a pause so that we can process it to see if it's a priority.
And,
so
that's I mean the old suggestion box. I'm saying that in a mocking tone.
Yeah.
But it's actually a pretty good idea. Even just a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah.
The other one, we've used an internal survey monkey with a loop that we called it the issues list. It allowed people to write out, the challenge they were having, and then we'd go through it every Wednesday morning in our management meeting, which led me to something. So, Chad, something you mentioned earlier that kind of triggered me because I think you're completely wrong. Sorry, I was just pausing for the applause. But the
I didn't hear any, did you? That's more like
right. But one thing that is very common in larger organizations, and when you start scaling up, is we got a challenge, we got a process that we got to analyze. We'll go through. Let's get the management team, the leadership team together, and put that. Huge mistake. The closer the person is to the front line, the more impact that they will have. We just moved buildings. I'll give you an example here. We just moved buildings a week ago. Sat in our retail store, and I happened to be walking through, and a lady came in, and she was talking about she wanted a keypad, or I don't know, she wanted something. Maybe I wasn't the one to help her, but anyway, she wanted something.
Probably for the best.
She wanted something.
She wanted something. I don't know.
Random woman.
But we didn't have the thing. And but it was, I went through this process, and I actually know what she wanted. She wanted like a decorative grade 3 knob set for her house.
Really glad we got that out there.
She didn't want the stuff from the box store, so she came to us, and what do we have? And I was like, oh, okay, well, let me, I'm not sure we have that. So I went and grabbed one of the gals that works there. I was like, hey, Sarah, do you know what have this? She's like, okay, well, let me just pull up this catalog. I have to find the catalog, and then we do this, and I'm not sure what we have in stock, so I got to go talk to our GM to go get here, and then he called a supplier for pricing, and he's like, well, what finish and what keyway, like all the, and I was like,
oh my goodness.
Oh my God, this is for like a $50, like I'm going to make $20 on this?
Yeah.
And I was like, man.
You're going to lose money on it with that process.
Yeah. True, but it was an eye-opener for me. It was like, well, why don't we have this stuff? Oh, well, because there was reasoning for it. There was reasoning for it. And it was, because we only sold, 3 of these. So therefore it has to go there. And it was just like, we've got a challenge here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I engaged right at the front line that I was, immersed in the situation to have an actual understanding.
Ours was simple key duplications across the front counter in Charlotte. In order for a customer to come in and get a key, the amount of administrative work that was done for the processing of the charging was
a $20 key took you an hour.
Yeah. So what? and here was the reason why it became a thing, is because I oftentimes years ago would randomly wander up to the front counter, and John would come in. I've known John for 20 years, and hey, John, how's it going? You need a key? Cool. Copy it for you. It's on the house. Because I'm not going through the process.
Right. Yeah.
That's going to take me 15 minutes to process the order for that key.
Yeah.
And so after I did that a few times, I went to our team and was like, we have to figure out a different process.
I gave away 100.
Yeah.
That's Cindy's business model.
Yeah, exactly. But for a different reason.
Cindy from Boulder, if anyone wants free keys,
just
Boulder, Colorado, Cindy will give them to you.
I think that, getting involved and seeing those pain points, but
getting the frontline people involved in that is hugely important.
I wanted to add something to that, because getting front people involved in that process to help tell you what the problems are, but they may misguide you in how to fix it.
And they want a faster horse.
Yes.
Absolutely. There are going to be people that are better at that, and I think we've touched on that enough. But understanding why the process is the way it is and how it's laid out.
Yep.
Are you doing anything to celebrate that simplification or trying to encourage that from people? Like, how do you, when someone brings a good idea to you, puts it in the suggestion box or whatever you guys are doing?
I take full credit for it.
That sounds about right.
I actually made a trophy for myself.
That also is pretty on brand for both of you.
What I can tell you, a terrible idea. So actually, I heard it today.
Speaking of trophies,
Tony.
Yes, we need to find one.
Yeah.
Can you guys wait to the end, please? Oh. This is an important podcast moment here.
Okay.
But there was a comment made today at this conference that made me slap my forehead.
Really? How hard?
It was provide a product. This was the words that came out of the gentleman's mouth. Send your product suggestions to product feedback, and I quote, "Don't worry, they don't go into a black hole. You don't get any acknowledgement or response, but we read them."
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and to me, I was sitting there, it's like, hey, we make that mistake. If you ask people to give feedback and then you don't acknowledge it, you don't even have to do something, but you just say, hey, I acknowledge you. Thanks for doing this. That will promote and celebrate that feedback. Well, and also even if you don't do anything about it, just acknowledge it.
And provide updates on it.
Also works with your wife and girlfriend. Just acknowledge.
Always Lars giving marriage and
advice.
Girlfriend.
Well, I see Chad's wife is now sitting here with us, which made me realize that I should host a podcast on not making your wife sit here listening to doorknob podcasts.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack there.
Okay.
Jeez Louise, what were we even talking? Oh, the feedback loop. Here's another one that you should probably take into context. This is
hopefully more valuable than his input.
Weekly reports.
Write it down.
Weekly reports from employees. If you allow a path for employees to give weekly reports, make it easy for them, but then give them an update if they report something that's a challenge that has been addressed. That is the way to celebrate it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a trophy or a gift card or anything like that. It's just literally
acknowledgement.
Thank you for bringing that up. Here is what we have discovered because you brought it up. Here's either what we are going to do about it or here's what we can't do about it. But it has been researched, has been addressed, and this is why. And this is why.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is by far the best way to encourage that feedback loop is to open it up and then respond to it.
So take it a step further in your weekly meeting. Say, hey, Chad gave us a great suggestion. We looked into this. This was the result.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge it because what you're trying to do, most people just want to feel appreciated.
Yes. Yeah,
and if you can figure out how to do that,
the only thing
they do also want to see.
They just don't want to see the result.
Yeah. But if there is a result to be made, yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'm a big fan of the human side of things. That's aggravating me. The human side of things, and not everybody wants the public. What is it called? Public recognition. But all you have to do is say, hey, somebody brought up this issue and describe the issue, and this is what we were able to do to solve it. If it's Lars might want the public recognition, give him the kudos, everything's good. But other people might not want the public recognition. But as long as you would share what the issue was and share that you addressed it, then that is going to and say it came through the weekly report. Then that's going to encourage the path to get that done. So I think those are elements from a reporting and then solution side. The big thing is you may not always fix the problem that they want it to be the way they want it to be fixed. But can you address it? Can you research it and then provide them clarity on where you are?
And it provides you the opportunity to look at it. So I think we've got 3 things that we talked about.
Okay.
And I think that's
long in the tooth.
Well, not long in the tooth, but I think that is 3 things we've talked about. One, the IDEO method, that's IDEO. If you Google that, that's sticky notes, processing it. It's a good way to analyze where you're at. Right? Number 2 was get involved with the front line yourself. Go have a look at it or at least delegate someone to it to have a look at it. Number 3, get
feedback.
encourage feedback.
Yes, encourage
Get
feedback and then
different
reward
perspectives.
that behaviors.
Yeah, the feedback loop, I think, is the key word there. Is the feedback loop is if you receive it, then you need to follow back up. And a lot of times we've even had these conversations with our team is, thank you for bringing this up. This is what we found. We can't, it doesn't make sense to solve it right now, but we have it plotted for review in 6 months. And they're like, thank you for looking into it. And because you've acknowledged it, you didn't just say, no, that's dumb. We're not gonna look at it.
That's a waste of time. Stupid answer.
You let them know where the result, what the result was, and it's
and what I found out is a lot of times you're working on things in the background to take that feedback to heart, and the employees don't understand that.
Right.
We had a meeting a couple weeks ago where we were asking people for feedback. The text gave some feedback.
Nothing ever changes.
No, they didn't say that. They just said, in the couple weeks later, they were like, hey, what was the update on that, right? We didn't follow back up and say, what was the outcome and what are we doing about it? You know, we collected the feedback, but if you don't show people you're doing something with it, they don't know. And
that'd be a good agenda item for your quarterly meetings.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Very cool.
So my teeth are feeling a little long here. Thank you. Well, I'm not sure where we're at with time because I'm not actually paying attention, but I imagine we're getting close to that. Tony, how are you feeling with the answers to your questions?
Pretty good. Do
you have some ideas on how to?
Yeah, no, lots of good stuff. I think my biggest takeaway is that in general, as you grow, you need to start to become proactive about simplifying. I have some good ideas on trying to recognize that. And really, as you grow, it's easier for time to be wasted because there's just more people involved. And at the end of the day, I think we need to take a step back and make sure we're being proactive about it.
Yeah.
And
trying to simplify makes you more complex.
Yes.
And recognizing whoever is driving the bus, if they're ops focused, you're probably too complex. If you're sales focused, you're not enough. So
and I think it's a tough balance between standardization and simplification, like you said, and it's typically going to be between a sales mind and an operations mind.
It's a pendulum, and you're never going to be perfect. You're going to be one way or the other. So it is probably a good piece of advice there is just to set a time to look at that. And if you do a quarterly meeting or a monthly or whatever it happens to be, it'd probably be a good time to go through probably one a quarter.
Yeah.
Like I would guarantee right now, your quoting process sucks.
Well, yeah, we both just said it does. So.
No, I don't mean literally you.
Now, but
I mean the collective you.
Collective audience.
All 4 people that are listening, you know.
Well, Jess is listening now, so there's 5.
We have 5. Yeah, she's not. She has
absolutely no clue what's happening.
Deep into Instagram right now. Or that's probably TikTok. Is that what
She's probably reading a book, if I were to guess, and has no clue what we're talking about.
I've never actually seen anyone who could care less about our topic than your wife right now.
She's here for the moral support.
Yes.
No clue where she's
hungry
at.
Is what she wants.
Next episode.
Oh, baby.
Next episode, we're going to record tomorrow morning, very, very early.
Exciting.
Everybody ready for that? We're going to talk about business strategies that you are either going to change or implement based off of the things that you've seen or experienced at this summit.
Ooh, I like that. I sounded like...
I don't like it.
Good.
I think we need to do that later in the day. We have a full day tomorrow.
Then we record later in the day.
Yeah,
we need to record 2 tomorrow.
Why?
Well, that's the topic that I chose.
Tony, who hurt you? Why are you in such a rush to get all these podcasts done
not
today?
me.
You got to choose your processors.
Well, processivity.
What? I learned 4 new words today, and they were all involving process.
They're Minnesotan.
So
can't park and can't say the word process.
Ooh.
Episode 55. Thank you.
Yeah.
So episode 55 sounds like it's going to be tomorrow. I don't think anyone
this is
here...
55.
Whatever. 56. I don't think if anyone cares whether it's in the morning or the afternoon, but that sounds like some takeaways, how we're going to implement what we have learned at this conference.
Yes.
Some key points, maybe.
Yep.
Some tidbits, some tips and tricks. And Chad, you're hosting
I just hope that that's recorded at a nice cadence.
That's what the word was earlier. I was trying to think
this
entire recording. I was like, what was that trigger word that it was? It was the cadence.
Yes.
So what cadence are we going to be recording tomorrow?
Beeves, if you're listening to this, I want you to zoom that camera in on my face right now. Corporate America, stop using the word cadence. You sound stupid. I hate it. and I don't want to hear it anymore, especially from these two jackals.
Yes. So importantly, if you are listening to this for the first time, we do release a new episode every Thursday on a regular cadence of episodes that you would enjoy. It's called the Unlocked Podcast. You can find out more by visiting our website, unlockedpodcast.com. We'll be back for another episode next week. We may either be talking about the business strategies that we are going to change or implement based off of the summit, or another topic that we record in the meantime, but that's what we're going to be about. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for the feedback. As always, reach out to us on LinkedIn or email. Thank you very much. And we will see you next time on the Unlocked Podcast.